Today was the Senate committee screening of more ambassadorial nominees. Today's turn was that of Reno Omokri, Femi Fani-Kayode, and a number of other nominees, you know. And of course, wherever Omokri is, there will always be some contention. And this time, surprisingly, it wasn't about, it was not two senators arguing whether Omokri should be cleared or not. It's just a misunderstanding they had, you know, where Senator Odume thought that Oshomole wanted to stop the process of clearing Omokri, whereas Senator Oshomole just wanted to see his bit. Oshomole was praising the president, that the president was magnanimous, and the president showed a rare quality where a leader would not mind whether he was criticized by someone in the past and will appoint that person as a nominee, you know. So he said that Reno Omokri, even though he made some stance in the past, has now seen evidence to the contrary, and he has shown that he has seen that his position before was wrong. And so now Reno Omokri has been cleared by the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, you know. And so all that talk between the back and forth between Oshomole and Ali Udume was quite unnecessary, because at the end of the day, he didn't stop Reno Omokri's nomination. It was just like a show of power or something like that, you know. So personally, since Omokri has been nominated, I've not really been too interested. I've not really made comments on it, other than to state the fact that he has been nominated, and to state that he once criticized Tinubu, you know, when he was supporting Atiku and in PDP. Now that PDP Atiku lost out, he made a turn and now supporting Tinubu, you know. For Omokri, people talk about what Omokri said in criticizing Tinubu, and people use that to say Tinubu should not have nominated him. But my own issue with Omokri is not really what he said about Tinubu, because the things he said about Tinubu was things that were being disputed in public. You know, there were court cases in the US to unveil documents about Tinubu as to the issue of him being a lawyer when some drug guys were arrested in the US decades back. You know, he's been not a lawyer now. Him being the accountant, he's an accountant. So he was the allegation was that he was a banker. He was one that opened the bank accounts of those people that were doing the drug business. So he was more like a bag man. You know, he was the one, opening the accounts. And people that do drugs, they need the money laundered. The process from the drugs, they cannot use the money. The money is dirty. So they have to launder it, they have to clean it, and they need accountants and people who are good in doing that, and that is where, according to the allegation, where Tinubu comes in, because he's an accountant, So that was the allegation. It was a question of public record. And so Omokri is saying it then, as a member of, as a supporter of Atiku, as a member of opposition. It's just something that politicians, things that they will say. So I don't really see much in that. The issue personally that I have with Omokri has to do with something else. If you look at Omokri's tweets, right? There was a time I used to follow Omokri. I follow him, even watch his YouTube accounts and the things he says, there were times he stood for certain causes that, like Leah Sharibu, the girl that was kidnapped along with others, but she was not released, and he was at the forefront of calling for the release of Leah Sharibu, and he did a song, organized a song that was sang, to ask for the release of Leah Sharibu, remembering Leah Sharibu. Reno Omokri really did well. I must commend him, for the advocacy he put out on account of Leah Sharibu, who has still not been released from captivity, who has still not been accounted for. You know, we don't really know what her situation is. So I must give kudos to Reno Omokri for his advocacy on Leah Sharibu. He really did a lot, and it's commendable, for somebody who, you know, would have been lost in the course of the news. Reno Omokri really did well in raising awareness about Leah Sharibu and what the government should do. That's fine. But other than that, Reno Omokri, there's some kind of dark, things that I really didn't like. You know, he was posting things, especially in reference to Peter Obi, right? You know, yes, he was in PDP, so he was supporting Atiku. He was against other people that were, Atiku was in the race, Obi was in the race, Tinubu was in the race. So he was speaking against Tinubu, understandably. He was speaking against Obi, understandably. But someone who praised Obi in the past, he was criticizing Obi, and it's okay. But the problem I had was this ethnic, he was whipping up ethnic sentiments, ethnic, tribal, regional sentiments. And that's what I didn't like. It's somebody that is from Delta State, but someone who, like, he stayed in the north for a long time. He has this pan-Nigerian experience, and as such, somebody who should be more aware, more sensitive to certain things that are not, certain whipping up sentiments, trying to, bring up tribal sentiments, trying all those things. It's quite harmful, and that is where at that point, I stopped following him when he started bringing up all those ethnic, tribal sentiments, religious sentiments to things, and start posting things that borders on that. That's when I now say no, 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 no. So Omokri is someone, if you really look at him, someone that's who really, he wouldn't mind saying things and doing things if it helps him in achieving whatever narrative or goal that he wants to pursue. And I think that people should have, there are things that you should be like, people should have red lines. Red lines, there should be limits. Even if you want to support somebody or want to go against another person, you are careful about certain things you say, because you know that lives are at stake, and whipping up certain sentiments will end up endangering people, and that shouldn't be the case. So that, for me, is an issue I've had with Reno Omokri, and I don't really follow up on what he does and on stuff like that. So as to this, his ambassadorial nomination, I don't really see any big deal in it. It should be cleared. Let him be an ambassador. There's no big deal. There's no big deal. They're not going to post him to a major country. He's not likely going to be in US, any of these major countries. They're going to put him in another low-lying profile country or something like that. That's what most likely is going to happen. The thing is, the strategy or Tinubu is using, he's using a strategy, and I will explain it with Premier League. There's this strategy that big clubs in Premier League used to do, like the Man U's and the Chelsea. When Chelsea was really Chelsea, when it was owned by Roman Abramovich, the Russian oligarch, you know, and Chelsea really had a lot of money then, right? What they used to do is that when they see a good player in another club, right, they just lure the player and buy the player. They may not, even when they don't really need the player, even when they have other good players in that position, they just buy the player, then either put the player on bench, either play the player in the field if the player is doing well, or loan out the player. What they do is to deplete opposition other clubs of good players. So they look for good players in other clubs and buy them so as to weaken the other clubs, so that they, Chelsea in this instance now, will be in a better position. And it's been shown, there are reports to that effect. It's not only Chelsea that did it. Man U and other big clubs, they do it. They will buy good players from other clubs to weaken those other clubs so that they will now have a better chance of winning the league or doing well in those tournaments. That's a strategy that big clubs do. Now, President Tinubu is using the same strategy when it comes to the politics. What he's doing is that he's taking out the people that can be effective spokesperson for the opposition. First, it was with Daniel Bwala. Okay, he's been doing that, but the specific example is Daniel Bwala. Daniel Bwala is an effective spokesperson. He's a very effective spokesperson. Where I knew Daniel Bwala was from Buhari days. Daniel Bwala was like APC spokesperson. He was not really an official spokesperson for Buhari, but anytime that you need somebody to defend something that the Buhari administration has done, you call Bwala. When Twitter was banned in Nigeria, right? There's some people that this Tolu Ogulese, he went to CNN and he couldn't defend it. He couldn't defend the Twitter ban. There are some people that couldn't defend it because they really, really didn't like the Twitter ban. So it was difficult for them to defend, but not Bwala. Bwala was called to defend the Twitter ban, and the response he gave when he was asked went viral. I saw it on WhatsApp groups. You see Bwala's response. You understand? It went viral because Daniel Bwala knows how to defend an indefensible position. He's a lawyer. He's a lawyer trained in the UK and Nigeria. He's called to the bar, I think, in the UK and Nigeria. He's a very smart guy. You understand? So, and he did the spokesperson for APC under Buhari. Until Tinubu came and Tinubu chose a Muslim ticket. That was when Daniel Bwala made a switch and left APC. And then when he left APC, Atiku quickly saw his potential and picked him as spokesperson. And as spokesperson for Atiku, Daniel Bwala did well as spokesperson. All the things people are saying he said in criticism of APC, in criticism of Tinubu, was in him doing his job as an effective spokesperson for Atiku Abubakar. You understand? So Daniel Bwala is an effective spokesperson. So imagine that Tinubu didn't bring in Bwala, right? Bwala will now be free. Let's say as ADC is forming now, the ADC will not have attracted Bwala, or PDP would have attracted Bwala, or Labour Party or someone would have picked Bwala. Tinubu knows that Bwala is a good spokesperson, is a good player, and any team that has Bwala will benefit because he'll be able to speak well for them. So knowing that, Tinubu put aside whatever Bwala may have said and appointed Bwala. The appointment of Bwala, just as the appointment of Omokri, is not because of their position. They are appointing them because of 2027. When 2027 comes, they will need Bwala and Omokri. They will need them. Because now, you see that Bwala is not, they make them spokesperson And initially he thought that Bwala thought, oh, he's going to be the main guy and all that. After the first round of press availability he had, and people kept asking him what he said about Tinubu and all that. you know. Then at the point, Bwala was now relegated to being spokesperson on policy and something, but he's not the main spokesperson. The main spokesperson is Bayo Nonuga. Then you have Sunday Dare. Yeah. Bwala is Tinubu has a number of spokesperson. Bwala is in the list. You understand? And that is the point is they didn't appoint Bwala so that to come and be defending Tinubu now. That is not why he was appointed. You understand? He may have thought that that is the purpose and may have tried doing that, but you can see that in recent times, it's not really available to the press like that. You understand? And me, I thought about it that Bola would have made, if the Allah Bola, right, he will make a more effective spokesperson to Tinubu if they allow him. But they are not allowing him now. They kind of kept him somewhere because he's not, they don't need him now. They need Bwala for 2027. That's why you see that he hardly speaks and he just makes some one or two appearances and stuff like that. So what the strategic President Tinubu, what he's doing is he's taking people from the opposition. Like someone like Bwala would have made a good spokesperson for ADC, or good spokesperson for PDP, or good spokesperson for any opposition party that will come up. Bwala is now in Tinubu's camp. Reno Omokri too is in Tinubu's camp. You understand? So if you now look at it, right? Look at the opposition. Look at the opposition now. Who is really speaking for the opposition? You have Bolaji Abdullahi of ADC. And Bolaji Abdullahi is doing a good job for ADC. I will admit that he's doing a good job. But ADC is still trying to gain his feet. ADC has not really stood on, they are not on solid ground yet. They are on shaky grounds. They are unstable according to what Peter B was said to have said. So, but Bolaji Abdullahi is a good spokesperson from the interviews I've, and the current spokesperson for PDP, the Turaki, this thing, is also a good guy. I've listened to his interviews, but we know that Bwala is good. We know that Omokri, can really make it when it comes to being a spokesperson or a voice for something, like that. He can really be quite effective. So I think the appointment of Reno Omokri, they're just making an ambassador. That's not the point. The point is that Omokri has making a play for, he wants to be in the Tinubu administration and all that. So they give him ambassador now. It's just this ambassador, just to be an ambassador. The main thing is when you see when 2027 comes, how he will be redeployed for the 2027 campaign. One other thing I will say is that, for Daniel Bwala and Reno Omokri, people will criticize them for making a U-turn. They supported Atiku and now they are supporting me. In a way, I don't really blame them like that. I don't really blame them because, come to think of it, what other thing would they do? Bola is a lawyer, he's a qualified lawyer, and he can really do well in law practice and all that. But if you notice, he has been in this political space for some years now, and he has created a niche for himself, and stuff like that. So I think he wants to be in this position. Voila. This is what he wants. This is what he wants doing. I think this is what he has a passion for and stuff like that. So Daniel Bwala knows what he wants. He knows the position where he wants to be in. He wants to be the front person in politics, the political space. He wants to be the face, he wants to be the voice. I know he can be able to do that. Daniel Bwala knows what he wanted. He did that for Atiku, and he knew what he wanted. He did all he could, convince Tinubu, and Tinubu appointed him as one of his spokesperson. Reno Omokri too, he knows what he wanted, and they went for it. So these people, it was kind of smart of them. Some people can say they're being disingenuous, and they are not genuine and all of that. I just see it that these are people that they knew what they wanted and they went for it. For Omokri, I feel that Omokri overdid his own in trying to compensate for all he did in calling Tinubu drug stuff, campaigning against him when Tinubu went to Chatham House in London and all of that. In trying to win, is trying then in supporting Atiku, in going against Peter Obi, he overdid certain things. When I talk about whipping up certain sentiments, which was wrong, he overdid certain things, right? But Reno Omokri knew what he wanted, and he went for it, and he got it. Just as Daniel Bwala, he knew what he wanted and he went for it. So they knew what they wanted and they went for it and they got what they wanted. At the end of the day, the grand master, the grand strategist is Tinubu. Tinubu saw the potential of these people and knew that they will be helpful to him when 2027 comes, and he has taken them from the open field and brought them into his circle. So that's for that.